What started as a conflict between 3 countries has now dragged a staggering 13 into the fallout.
World War III. This is the start of World War III. I hope y'all know that. Oh my God, is that his hairline? Yes, I have a hairline. I'm not hiding. I know some of y'all thought my absolutely cooked because I always wear a cap. It's really not. I just don't feel like showing it a lot of times. I don't know why. But anyways, World War III just got way worse by Maury. Let's get to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it seems as though that the US-Iran war has gotten so much more worse, and we are now verging on into territories of which we cannot retreat from. This is bad.
The US-Iran war is widening fast. What started as a conflict between 3 countries has now dragged a staggering 13 into the fallout.
And I just
World War III. This is the start of World War III. I hope y'all know that. The memes, the jokes, this over. We're living it. All we can pray for is that this don't get nuclear.
gotta say, after seeing and absorbing various medias, all the global oil transported is transported through this strait, and many Asian and European countries use this for their energy production to keep their societies alive, essentially. So if that is threatened, a lot of countries will starve in under a year. And Iran is basically saying, hey, continue with this war. You'll see just how far we're willing to go. We will starve you out.
And that's part of it. There's another part of it too. I reacted to a video a couple days ago about this whole situation. I got a more clear understanding. Now, I will say the video was a pretty one-sided analysis. It wasn't like an unbiased perspective. So I don't think I'm gonna be allowed to post a video because YouTube is getting strict about that. And I was keeping it a $1.30 with y'all. But to summarize what's also going on and another reason why this whole war is started in the first place, I might have to be careful what I say. The US, back in 2012, Iran and NATO signed a peace treaty, or like a treaty that basically told Iran that they couldn't develop any nuclear weapons if every single country that has put sanctions on them in NATO released the sanctions, okay? The reason why they had sanctions is because some bullshit that happened way before this. I'm gonna get to it later, all right? So peep, Iran agreed, everybody agreed, and the US agreed. And I don't know if Israel was in it, or Israel, I'm gonna just call them the server admins. I don't know if server admins was in it, but hey. So the reason why US, Iran, and the server admins started getting beef is because the US broke the treaty. Allegedly, they broke the treaty with Iran and tried to put sanctions on them as soon as Trump got into office. That's why Iran allegedly is developing nuclear weapons, because if you're finna break our treaty, try to put sanctions on us for no reason, why wouldn't we break our treaty? We have all the full right to break their treaty, which you can debate that theory for what you want. Now, what is happening is that the US is trying to basically murk the whole Iranian political system so that the country will go into the civil wars. The US and the server admins, that's their goal right now. So the country will go into a civil war, the people will take it back, and they can elect a new leader. Here's the kicker, and this is all alleged. This is the reason why I don't feel like I can post other video, but I'm gonna say it right here in the summarized version. Allegedly, the real thing the US is after is Iran's oil. Like Maury just stated, Iran has huge control over the Gibraltar Strait or whatever that's called, and they also have a lot of oil in their country. Iran is a very well-placed country and is a very strategically an important placed country, right? So they're also accounted for at least, I think, damn near 80% of China's oil exports, right? And China buys more, like the most oil in the world by far. Like put US, all of the other power countries in like a scale or combined, all their oil consumption combined, China matches that completely. It's crazy. If I can show you, if I can find a graph, I'll show you. It's crazy, right? So we all know US and the server admins, they've been after the Middle East oil for as long as existence. And allegedly, the reason why they're so involved in Iran, the reason why they wanted to put sanctions back on Iran is really just to poke the bear so they can start the conflict so that they would eventually get into war with Iran, server admins in US get into war with Iran, and eventually kill the dictator or the leader or whatever, president or whatever, have the country go into civil war. And while that is happening, while the country is in crazy uncivil rest, they will then come back, swoop in save the day and elect a new president under their authority. Kind of what, just like what they did in Venezuela. If you're curious about that, elect a new puppet president for him to lead Iran. And if that sounds crazy, they've done it before, multiple times across the whole Middle East. Look up what the U.S. did to Syria. They did literally the same exact thing. They actually elected a dictator in Syria and are taking their oil. And it's a lot of bullshit, allegedly. There's a lot of bullshit, allegedly. They've done this before. They actually, back even before 9/11, a whistleblower in the U.S. government, and I'll link the video where I got all of this information from down in the description. I'll try to post a reaction. I don't think YouTube's going to let me, though, so I'm going to link the video in the description just so y'all know this ain't coming from me. This is from the video I watched. But apparently, right, a U.S. general or attorney back before 9/11, like 2020 to damn near 30 years ago, he basically was a whistleblower, and he revealed that the U.S. planned to take over the whole Middle East by way of doing stuff like this. And they have, damn near. You remember 9/11 and them going to Afghanistan and them going to Iraq? What do you think they did? Yeah, they put people in power, and they have good access to the oil now. Everything's actually about the oil. It's not just jokes. It's dead ass about the oil. And they're trying to do the same thing to Iran, allegedly. And that's the real big reason why this shit is starting. And if you're wondering why they're trying to elect the president there, well, they're basically trying to, well, of course they're trying to get the oil, but they're also trying to just widen their power. The guy in the video that I watched, he called the U.S. empire, United States empire. And the reason why he did is because this is exactly what ancient Rome did. They took over territories, elected presidents or shahs, and that's what they're doing. And the U.S. actually did this in Iran before, way back in the 70s. They elected the shah, if you look back into it, back in the 70s. But the reason why the U.S. doesn't have control over Iran no more is because the Iranian people revolted and elected their new government. And ever since then, the U.S. has been trying to get back in there. And this is their best opportunity, allegedly. So, yeah, it's not just about Iran building nuclear. That's just what they're trying to tell y'all. It's really deeper. It's kind of fucked up because they're trying to edge this country into going to a civil war, allegedly, and then it's just going to be so much violence for oil, damn near. Allegedly, from what I got. That could be wrong. I'm not a political guy, but that's what the guy said. All right, in the video, and he brought evidence to back it up. I'll link the video in the comment section if y'all want to go watch it for yourself. I'm gonna try to upload the reaction, but I don't know if I'll be able to because YouTube's tweaking about this.
Today marked a major escalation because Iran struck UK military bases in Cyprus, meaning for the first time this war has now officially touched European territory.
And they're only doing that because basically they've also said any country within their perimeter, their radius, that their ballistics can reach, they will be U.S. military bases because, hey, you're in cahoots with
And now Iran is crashing out because they're not trying to get taken over again, basically, what's going on. They're trying to defend themselves. But I don't know. But yeah, that's from the information I got.
the USA. And we do not like that. Essentially, a lot of this is collateral damage.
Now, in response, the UK has authorized the United States to use its military bases to help destroy Iran's systems, and a member of the European Parliament for Cyprus is already calling for action.
Cyprus is an EU territory, and one on the member states should be considered as an to the entire European Union.
This is how
This is how World War II started. This is how World War I started, and this is how World War III is going to start too.
gradually slide into something that becomes a global phenomenon, and we don't want this.
Union. We want and we expect a united response from the entire European Union.
And that wasn't the only development today. Lebanon has now been dragged into this conflict as well after Hezbollah launched on Israel in solidarity with Iran.
Yes, we've not heard from them in a while, but they're now back in the fray. And if you guys don't know, according to Wikipedia,
Bro, I thought they was talking about the little person. I'm gonna be honest, gang. I was like, what? What the fuck did he got to do with this shit, bro? What type of Drakes and we got, gang? What the hell? I was confused. I know y'all was confused too.
Yeah, is Lebanese political party and paramilitary group. So they're pretty much what we would consider And to my knowledge, Shia is a subset faith under Islam, which makes up 10 to 15% of the faith. And these people, they're basically the barbarians of the Islamic world. They literally, especially during Ramadan, which is now, are sacrificing their lives to die under this supposed holy war. They don't care about dying. It's actually an honor for them to die in battle, especially with their leader, the Ayatollah. A lot of these people are now globally Shia, the Muslims who practice that specific type of Islam, are kind of now banding together and are trying to F shit up. Honestly, this is very dangerous. And it's funny, someone in the comment section said, we were so close, bro.
My title for my last video went crazy because I knew niggas was gonna connect today.
With an image of GTA. I mean, hey man,
we
another
are
person
so
said,
close.
Imagine World War III starting because a guy wanted to cover up his files. Wink, wink. I'm sure you guys all understand what that's about. It's just sad that we are now being dragged into a potential global war because of one tiny little city in the desert who can't stop beefing with Muslims. It's amazing.
Solidarity with Iran.
It gets deeper, bro. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Y'all gonna hate me saying this, but y'all, Iran isn't the bad guys y'all trying to make them out to be. They're not the bad guy that the U.S. and the server admins are trying to make them out to be, bro. Like, the U.S. was the one who started this shit. And the other country also edged it on. And then Iran responded, and now we're demonizing them. But they have a valid point of wanting to start this conflict. I'm gonna be honest. And because they know what they know what the server admins in the US is trying to do. They just after their oil. They're just trying to take over. Do the same thing they did back in the history. That's why they're fighting back so hard, bro. And it's crazy how the media is just manipulating the whole situation to make it sound like a certain people are the good guys and there's a bad guy, when in all reality, bro, it's honestly, if you want to play good guy and bad guy, it's probably flipped.
Meanwhile, Qatar and Saudi Arabia were pulled in at a
Let's
pretty
not forget, the U.S. and the server admins, Iran first. Let's not forget that.
major way after a number of their energy facilities were hit. Qatar, which supplies around 20% of the world's liquefied natural gas, they were forced to suspend their operations. And the same goes for Saudi. Their largest oil refinery had to temporarily halt production after a large fire broke out. And then there's NATO.
So yeah, Iran is basically, again, territories that are in coalition with the USA and Israel that either have military bases and or provides energy to the USA, which includes Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and I believe also Iraq. That's why we went into that war. Not for weapons of mass destruction, but for oil. Everything is oil, energy, and domination. And as for the rest of these countries, they basically are regional countries where we have US military bases that we can use in collaboration with the...
But the only reason why we have US military bases is because we did the same thing that we're trying to do in Iran there. You remember Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan, like the same thing. I don't know if we actually put it in Afghanistan, I'm not sure. But you get what I'm trying to say. They're trying to do the same thing.
Governments from those countries to basically have ports closer to the Middle East in order to our enemies, in this case, Iran. Another person said it's literally Iran versus everyone, bruh. I mean, they're...
Now China backing them, and that's when this shit's gonna get scary. Because again, remember what I said earlier. Iran supplies most of China's oil. In that Middle East, that little strait where they're blocking off the shit, they supply most of the oil for China. So China's in the Southeast Asian countries, they're suffering the most. And China's been in support of Iran this whole time, and that's where this shit can get dangerous. It really can get dangerous, bro, because China backing Iran, U.S. is backing the server admins. Y'all see what's going on? It's exactly how World War II started, bro. And you can even make an argument that the U.S. really wants to control the Middle East oil just so they can have an upper hand on China in a big-ass Cold War that's going on, bro. Because if y'all haven't peeped, the U.S. and China are in a big-ass Cold War right now. It's been like that for the past 10 years. On the same scale as the U.S. and the Soviet Union back in the days. Maybe even worse. Because now we got millions of hundreds of to play with. And everybody got now. So the shit kind of low-key worse.
Yo, shout out to them. They're really tough. Like, They're a very prideful and tough people.
And then there's NATO. We got their comments for the first time after their Secretary General called Iran a threat to Europe, Israel, and the wider region, saying Europe is really stepping up after this weekend's operations.
And yeah, unfortunately, you know, European countries and certain Asian countries are probably gonna have to enter the fray because literally, as the professor explained yesterday, but you know, we were watching this now today, the GCC, which are the Gulf states, they control a considerable amount of oil relative to their population or their sizes. They control about 20% of the oil transport in the world, which is consumed by not only us, but China and places like Japan and Europe. If 20% of the oil or global transport of oil is affected and essentially locked out from being transported by the Gulf states, Qatar, Saudi, UAE, from being transported to the rest of us, especially if it's being locked or gatekept or stunted for an extended period of time, people will start to starve. Most of our energy comes from oil. 20% is crazy. I heard projections that if Japan doesn't get a lot of their oil, which does come from the Gulf states as well, they basically fall within 8 to 9 months. Their society collapses. A lot of European countries will go cold. They will collapse. And not only on top of oil being exported, the Strait of Hormuz is needed to get food into the Gulf states as well because they don't really grow their own food like that and they don't really have a lot of fresh water reserves.
And this is where this shit's gonna get dark because now the whole world gotta be a part of this shit. Because China and Japan, they not letting that shit slide. You know how they like to get down. And you know, as soon as Kim Jong-un hears, yo, we might not be running shit. Kim Un, he's been waiting. He's been itching to be a part of this conflict, bro. I guarantee he's sitting in his room right now, waiting. No, he's sitting in the fucking room, the war room in North Korea right now, waiting for somebody to send an accidental false to North Korea just so they can get in that shit, bro. Kimmy want to use his fucking toys, bro. He wants to use his toys. He's been waiting. He's not a part of the fun right now.
A lot of their oil.
That's how this whole thing, it doesn't seem that big right now, but I'm telling you, this shit can get crazy. Like literally insane if it keeps on going on.
It's transported to us in exchange for food, water, money. So it's a mutual beneficial relationship. And guess who knows that? Iran. They understand how important this choke point is and they are willing to crash out even though they need this choke point themselves.
Which is why this is such a fucking stupid thing. This all stemmed from some petty bullshit about oil. And now, since they done killed Iran's leader, he's a martyr now. Iran crashing the fuck out. They not playing no games. They're willing to literally cut off the whole world just so, you feel me, they can get their way. Which at the same time, I'm going to be honest, when you know the situation, when you fully understand it, bro, they just doing what they got to do. I'm going to be honest. Because, like, if I got picked, let's say I got picked on, right? And then the bully that picked on me wanted to point at me and make me seem like the bad guy, seem like I was doing shit to him. Well, let's say, okay, the bully picks on you, right? You retaliate. And then that bully then points at you and is like, yo, you're the bad guy. He tells the whole world, you're the bad guy. You're the crazy people and you need to be stopped. Matter of fact, you need to be controlled by me because you're just uncivilized and you don't know what to do. That's basically what the U.S. and server admins are doing. Mind you, Iran's been cool. From my point of view, from my knowledge, I don't know, I'm not from Iran. They've been cool for the past 20 years. They've been doing their own thing. But now that they got an upper hand with the oil shit, now people want to start, you feel me, taking control of them. Now they don't know how to handle their shit. The shit's crazy. That shit, once you really understand, that shit's crazy and it's very manipulative. So yeah, they're finna crash out, bro. They trying to keep their shit. They trying to keep their oil. They trying to keep their resources. Iran's a big country. People don't understand. They got over damn near 100 million people in that shit. They can't be controlled. They don't want to be controlled. They'll gut their economy. So they're crashing out. And plus, you murk their leader, they crashing the fuck out.
At this point, it's like a war
They're willing to take everybody with them, bro. And that's the dangerous part about this shit, gang. because it's really going to affect everybody. I don't think people understand that.
Attrition. Let's see who dies first. And because they're so extreme and they are the Shia Muslims, they're very prideful and they will crash out to the end. I don't think people understand. And of course, that's an oversimplification of what is currently going on. It gets way more deep. But we are now being dragged into, again, a global conflict because certain people in the desert of a specific faith in our country who supports those people can't stop beefing with Muslims. And they want to,
it's deeper than that though. Like that's why the server admins are in this shit. They just don't like the Muslims, right? But it's deeper than that. And actually, the server admins are in this for oil too because they control us. So it's deeper than just religion versus religion. This is like about control, bro. It's about control in oil and power in building an empire. That's what this shit is about, bro.
They also feel threatened by Iran having so many ballistics.
Remember, if y'all don't think World War III can pop off from this shit, world wars have started for less. The first World War started because of some petty shit. I think I forgot about it. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't learned about that shit in 7 years. I couldn't even tell you. All I know is it was Austrian Hungary or whatever. One of them countries. One of them irrelevant ass countries in fucking Europe too. And they just started some bullshit. And it just kind of,
and their nuclear program, them wanting to create for themselves to have more power in their region. It's a whole mess. And this professor right here from Predictive History, Professor Jiang, I believe, formerly from China, now he's in Canada. He genuinely believes we may be entering World War III.
There's NATO. We got their comments for the first time after their Secretary General called Iran a threat to Europe, Israel, and the wider region, saying Europe is really stepping up after this weekend's operations. But when asked if NATO forces would get involved in this situation, he made it pretty clear. He said this is being led by the United States and Israel. So for now, NATO is staying out of it. But of course, as the situation develops, I'll keep you guys updated.
So NATO is staying out of it for now, quote unquote, but I believe they're already involved because once...
Yeah, NATO's already involved for sure. They don't want to... See, NATO doesn't want to start the official World War III. They don't want to be the people who started World War III, but they're involved right now. Nobody wants to be the country that started this shit.
Energy production reaches a point to where it's not sustainable, and the Strait of Hormuz is in a point to where Iran is now willing to back up and allow oil to be exported from the Gulfs and imported into these countries. A lot of people will start to suffer. Gas prices will start to significantly increase, and that'll affect food prices. And once food prices increase exponentially and oil prices, gas prices increase exponentially, and people start hurting in the pockets and people start starving, then that's when governments will have to get involved and a lot of bad shit will start to pop off. And I don't want that. Someone here said in the comment section, so Trump has successfully started World War III. As much as I'd like to kind of say, hey, that's an exaggeration, potentially in a way.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, he did. Because remember when I was talking about the treaty being broken? That whole kind of started, or like it was like it led to the butterfly. It was the start of the butterfly effect of this whole thing happened. Trump was in office. It was in 2018. He was in office when that happened. And yeah, so this is him.
Yes, but indirectly by supporting Israel in their efforts to try.
It wasn't just that. He kicked it, like, he basically kicked this shit. Like, it's not all just him, but he pushed the first domino. We'll say that.
And destroy Iran. And I want people to understand it's not because Israel is kind-hearted and they care about the people of Iran and they want to destroy an oppressive regime. No, they couldn't, they don't care. They didn't just all of a sudden gain a new set of morals. It's because they want regime change so that they can insert their own politicians to have control of Iran, insert their own little puppets in collaboration with the US so that they can have more power. And so that Iran is no longer a threat and that they can have more regional control over the Gulf states.
That's what this is about.
Expansion, more oil, more power. And so
that's what this is about. The whole thing, that's what this is about.
Supposedly, this whole thing is supposed to die down in 4 to 5 weeks. So I heard. Hopefully that happens. But
because the server admins in the US aren't gonna stop until their little puppet is in office in Iran. That they're not gonna stop until that. So this is gonna last until they finally just give up. But they're not going to, bro. They're already too deep in.
It does not look like Iran is backing down. It looks like they're willing to.
And Iran is not backing down from this shit. They're not, because the shit already happened before and it sunk their economy. Back in the 80s. They're not letting that shit happen again, bro. The best bet that the U.S. and the server admins have is that Iran goes into a full-on civil war and they engulf themselves. But as of right now, it doesn't look like they're doing that. Their leader dying as a martyr was what it took for them to unite. And now people are getting educated in Iran about what's going on.
To fight to the bitter end.
I don't think that's gonna
We'll see what happens. But if you guys want a better understanding, somewhat, sort of, about why we are where we are now, go check out Predictive History on YouTube. Game Theory number 9, the U.S.-Iran War. It should really be titled the U.S.-Israel-Iran War. You know, in that video, it'll talk about the Strait of Hormuz, how important it is, how we...
That might be my next reaction, bro. I'll get to that later. But I also will link the video where I found out about this information. It was from more of a, you could tell, his name is Geopolitical Economy Report. You could tell he's more left-leaning, but at the same, it's not even about politics, bro. It's about human rights. It's not left-leaning. It's not right-leaning. This is about human rights, all right? And his video is really good. That was the first time of me really understanding about what was going on. So YouTube isn't really trying to get me to push that video out. I hope they let me push this one out because I basically just summarized everything I was saying in that one or everything that was said in that one into this. So you might just want to watch this regardless. But I'm telling you, bro, this is not a political thing. I mean, this is not a left versus right thing. This is a human rights thing. I know that a lot of y'all going to have different opinions about this in the comment section. That is cool. But I'm letting you know. This shit is way deeper. People are lying to you. You can't believe all the propaganda you see. And also remember, at the same time, the files still happened. Don't forget that shit. Also, don't forget about what's going on in Gaza right now. You feel me? The server admins then fucking creating a mass genocide over there. Let's not forget about that shit either. Look up images of what Gaza look like right now. The shit is gone. I feel for those people out there, bro. I don't care what happened with Hamas or whatever. That doesn't call for a complete annihilation of a race. That's insane. That's exactly what the mustache man did back in the day. Just being honest. So we will. That's it. All right.